Hey guys, it's Zap here, and welcome back to another Hypixel SkyBlock video. So in today's video, we're basically going to be talking about all the different ways of actually making money here in Hypixel SkyBlock. So this is definitely going to be a long video. I will have timestamps, which I'll put up later after this whole intro bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my best to kind of put them in the order that you would want to do them in. So like starting with the stuff you would do when you first start and ending with the stuff that you would do in the late game. And like I said, there'll also be timestamps, so if you want to skip to a certain segment, if you don't care about them all, then you can do that as well. And some of the things that we're going to be talking about don't necessarily have a specific time that you're going to do them, but I'll just throw them in when I would kind of start doing them. And by the way, I did get some help from my buddy Neova on this. He's also my Discord manager, so if you guys want to join that, by the way, the link's in the description. And I'm also going to have his Twitch linked in the description. He's a pretty cool guy, so you should go check him out. He helped me with a lot of the brainstorming, and he also did a couple of the segments. So yeah, we basically did our brainstorming, and we came up with all the methods that we thought would be relevant. So yeah, I guess let's just get into it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about here, this is really early game, and we're not going to talk about it for too long, but it's going to be the hub farm. So the farms in the hub, they have a lot of wheat, and you can actually head to the barn as well to get carrots and potatoes, but I don't really recommend that because they sell for about the same as wheat, and you don't get the seeds as well. Plus, there's a lot more competition for them. But yeah, so basically these, this wheat and the seeds sell for 32 coins a stack, and the wheat sells for 64 coins a stack. And yeah, it's really quick to farm. Like, I already got almost 3 stacks of wheat and 2 stacks of seeds, and I mean, you saw me the entire time. It was not very long at all. And obviously this isn't going to be a lot if you're kind of mid or later game, but early game, this is a huge source of money. I'm actually going to go sell what I have in a second once I'm done here, but yeah, I actually did a lot of this myself. When I first started out, it actually, I mean, believe it or not, it's a pretty good source when you're barely starting out. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go sell these now, and we're gonna see how much I made. Alright, I already did actually have 5 coins, but we just went and sold everything, and yeah, we made about almost 700 coins, and you saw how long it was farming. It was not very long at all. So yeah, obviously, like I said, this isn't a lot if you're in the mid or late stages of the game, but if you're first starting out, 700 coins is actually quite a bit. So yeah, I think that about concludes this. Next segment. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and move over to the farms category, and I'm actually here with my buddy Neo, and he's going to basically explain this because he's got more authority on it than I do. So go ahead.
Alright, so starting off with farms, one of the earliest and one of the ones you're more likely to go to if you're earlier, really early game or late early game is probably gonna be sugarcane. It's not gonna beat pumpkin or melon by any means, but it's really not bad. I mean, it's respectable for that stage of the game. And resource-wise, it's not that bad either. You just need a diamond hoe or a gold hoe or wood hoe if you really want to. I don't think that what it matters, but
I don't
let's
think it
face it,
matters,
diamond
yeah.
hoes are bling. You want to make sure it has harvesting 5 just because harvesting 5 is great. 62.5% chance to get double drops is pretty alright.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just run down and break it. I can't break this. This isn't my island, but
Yeah, we're
don't do what
actually
I'm doing right
visiting.
now.
We're actually visiting someone named Adblock, so I guess a little bit of credit to him for letting us borrow his farm, even though we didn't ask, but that's a secret.
Yeah, he doesn't have to know. It's not like he's gonna see the vid. One big issue that a lot of players have with these farms is they'll try to run down and just break from this middle stock once it grows up to 3, and that's actually a terrible idea. You always want to break it top down. The reason for that being is harvesting only applies on the crop that you break. So if I break this lower one right beneath me, this middle one, I'm gonna have harvesting and my farming bonus applied on this one, and this top piece is just gonna drop. So you always go top down. And other than
Yeah.
that, I mean, that's pretty much all there is
Yeah,
to the
sugarcane's
sugar
pretty
cane.
simple.
Next up in the farming category is pumpkin farms. Pumpkin farms do get. This is a big point of contention in the, I guess, the farming community is whether you go silk touch melons or pumpkins. In my opinion, these are king. They do sell for a little bit more than sugarcane, but less than melon, which is where I hear a bunch of people asking, well, Nova, Neo, why are you saying that pumpkin's better than melon if you get less money? That's kind of dumb. You're right, but you're wrong. If you silk touch melon, you don't get farming XP. Now, what does farming XP do? It gives you a higher chance for double and eventually triple drops, and it also gives you HP per level. If you don't care about stats, then yes, Melon will technically be better, but I think in the early game or even the mid game, well, it's a really good way to earn stats while you work towards some of the end game projects, I think. So this is why this is 100% early to mid game players. This is the only farm I recommend.
Alright, so now we're at my island to show you guys the melon. I have a pretty small melon farm. I built this way early on, and I meant to expand it, but I never did. Anyway, besides the point, if you want to go ahead and talk, Neil.
Yeah, Melon is technically the king of the farms as far as crop value goes. But if you get a silk touch, efficiency 5 golden axe, you can one tap these and get blocks just
Yeah,
like you
that's what
could
I
with
have.
pumpkin.
Yeah.
And obviously, since they're in block form, you can just put them in using the formless crafting and make enchanted melons. And they do have a higher sell value. They're good if you only care about money, but like I said, if you're in an early to mid game state and you want to grind up more stats, I don't know why that word just escaped my mind there. But yeah, if you want to start working on your stats and getting more prepared for end game, I think that Pumpkin will still beat it out. So really, at the end of the day, it just kind of comes down to whether you want more money or whether you want a little bit less money and a little bit better stats.
Alright, cool. So I believe that concludes the farming segment. Thank you for your help on that, Neo. Next segment.
No problem, man.
Alright, so the next money making method we're going to be talking about here is going to be Cobble Generators, aka Super Compactor 3000 farms. So I'm sure you guys have seen these before. If not, it's basically water on this side, lava on that side, and basically there's teleport pads. This one doesn't have a destination, but if we come down to the other end, there is a teleport pad down here, and when you walk over it, it teleports you back to the start. By the way, this is Neo's island, just because I don't have one of these and he does, so it's convenient. But yeah, so basically, like I said, this is a teleport pad, and what you do is you want to have a golden pickaxe, not a diamond one, and you just want to look straight up and just hold down left click and mine these. You get a lot of cobblestone this way, and like I said, once you get to the end, you get teleported back, and then all the cobblestone will have regenerated by then. And yeah, it's a good way to farm a lot of cobblestone quickly. And it's good to basically then craft super compactors and sell them on the auction house. You would also need some redstone minions for that because you do need some redstone. And I'm going to show you what they sell for in a second as well. But I do want to give a disclaimer first. I'm not totally sure on the rules of actually AFKing this. I haven't really looked into it because I never had one of these personally. So I'm not sure if you're allowed to just have something holding your mouse down while you do it and AFK it, or if you're supposed to actually physically be there. So what I'm gonna say on it is, if you do know that you're allowed to AFK it, then sure, go ahead. But if you don't know, I would either try to find out or just don't AFK it and make sure you're there while you're doing it. Just to be safe, I don't want to get anyone banned here, so yeah. And really quickly, if we check the auction house here and see how much super compact, that's probably enough. Super compactors are actually selling for, they're under blocks. Okay. Yeah, so there's one here ending in 5 minutes, 500k, 425k, 460k, 370, 400, 400. Yeah, so it looks like they mostly sell around the 400 to 500 range seems to be like the upper limit. I don't think they might go much higher than that. So I think between 400 and 500,000 is what they actually sell for. Alright, so next up what we're going to be talking about is minions. So there's two different routes you can go. There's either AFKing grinders, or there is actual, regular minions that place down blocks and you don't have to AFK. So if you're not going to AFK, I would recommend going with clay minions. They make you quite a bit of money. As far as I know, they are the best minion. If you're not going to AFK, they'll make you the most money. And of course, how much you're going to make will definitely depend on, how many you have and what level they are. So it's going to vary a lot, and it's hard for me to give you an exact number, but you will make quite a bit. And yeah, so they're pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you just throw them down, and then you, you could put super compactors on them, but I think that's kind of not needed. You could probably just put regular compactors, and as long as you get on about once a day to actually collect them, you should be fine. You shouldn't be, wasting anything there. You also want to give them a storage too. A medium storage is probably the best option. I don't think you need to go large. So your other option with minions is going to be AFK grinders like I have here with Magma. So again, as far as I know with these, Magma is going to be your best bet for making money off of them, at least as far as I have seen. If I'm incorrect on that, definitely leave a comment, let people know, and let me know as well, because I would be interested in seeing if you've made more money with a different type of minion. But as far as I know, magma is going to be your best option. So there's actually different ways you can set these up. Mine, I believe, is not the most efficient way of doing it. I just like the smaller design of it. The other way of doing it is actually with cactus. And you could have them just float, like they spawn from the minions and flow on the cactus and die. I believe that's actually more efficient, like I said, but I like the design of this one. And mine is drowning, so you can do the cactus or the drowning versions. But yeah, this is also pretty self-explanatory. You just need to make an area for them to spawn, and you need to make sure it's actually 7 by 7, because if it's 5 by 5, they'll get stuck in the walls, at least if you have it laid out like this. And yeah, just use signs for them to spawn the magma cubes on, and they'll fall down here into the water. And if you have the drowning pit, they'll drown. If you have the cactus, they'll die on the cactus. And then you just want to have a hopper system underneath, and then you can have them flow into chests. And yeah, just make sure you have enough storage to hold everything if you're going to be AFK for a while. Again, this does require AFKing if you want to make good money off of it. So for me personally, I make around 800,000 coins a day off of this, and that is with 13 minions. All of them are level 7, except for this one here is level 11, and the one below it is level 8. I accidentally upgraded that one. But yeah, so this is definitely a good sort of passive money source that doesn't require much of anything besides AFKing, or not AFKing if you go with the clay. So my chests are actually just about full here. Yeah, they're almost there. So what I'm gonna actually do is I'm gonna go ahead and craft all this magma into enchanted magma, and we're gonna go ahead and sell everything and show you guys how much I made. All right, so I just finished crafting all the magma cream into enchanted magma cream, and we have about 9.5 stacks of enchanted and 3 extra stacks of regular. And we also have 46,000 in my purse from collecting from the actual minions. So let's go ahead and sell this all now and see how much we get. Alright, so as you can see there, I made about $830,000 in total from collecting it there. Alright, so yeah, as you guys can tell, these are definitely good and reliable sources of making money. You're gonna make quite a bit less if you decide to go with clay, but if you decide to go with magma, like I have, and it's also what I recommend, you're gonna make quite a bit as long as you AFK it. You don't even have to AFK it too much, just a decent amount, and you'll make quite a bit of money. It's definitely really good to have a reliable source of income. Unlike some of these other methods, those can be more volatile. This is pretty much going to stay constant unless it gets nerfed, but as of now, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Alright, so next segment is going to be the auction house and how to make money here. So once again, we have Neo here to help us get some insight on that, because again, he's better at this than I am.
So when it comes to the auction house, there's 2 main strats that I use. One of which is auction flipping, the other being essentially abusing other players' laziness and finding recipes that no one else wants to make. The auction flipping is pretty self-explanatory, I think. It's a little bit on the complex side, so it's not something that I think you're going to be super profitable on right away. It's going to take some time to get used to, and it's definitely timing dependent. The main way that I've gone about doing it, at least, is anytime I can get on that's not peak hours, going to the auction house and finding stuff ending soon that's less than market value. So hot potato books for 50 to 60k, super compactors ending for 300k, or summoning eyes ending for less than that, etc. Find something that has a high market value, and when players aren't on, you buy it for cheap, and then you wait until peak hours and you put it back up, and then you make maybe 20, 30, 40k off of it, or you can make even more. It just kind of depends on what the deals are, and it's definitely the least consistent method of making money with the auction house, but it's viable if you're sitting around and you put a lot of time into it and you buy a whole bunch of stuff and you get really, really lucky with some of the auction timings. You can make a fortune. Every now and then, just check the ending soon, see if you might be able to snag an easy deal and hold on to it for a couple days and then flip it later. The other one, which is what I kind of used in conjunction with farming when I went for my pig sword, is abusing other players' laziness, basically. I would find recipes that are they are stuff that people don't really want to go for. So hot potato books, super compactors, hay strings, different talisman, etc. And preferably have them be something that you can buy from an NPC. So I'm going to use hot potato books as the example. Even though it's not ideal, there's definitely other options. that's just what I did whenever I was coming up, and it's kind of gives you a really good example. So I did the math and noted that hot potato books, buying all the potatoes from the merchant, cost me 60K, and I could sell them for about 100 to 120K at the time, meaning that one book would sell for enough to get me 2 books. Then I could sell 2 books, get enough for 4 books. And eventually, I was able to keep basically just doubling my money, doubling my money, doubling my money. I was able to afford to put hot potato books on my pig sword and whatever else I had at the time. And I had like an extra 400 or 500K that I was able to start investing into other projects like a cobblestone generator, kind of stepping up my production to make some grinders and kind of get some higher income. So really, I don't think this is necessarily end game level stuff, but it's definitely something to kind of bridge the mid game to end game gap. It's really boring sitting and talking to the NPC, but when it comes to making money, it is definitely a very, very good strategy.
Yeah. I'd say if you're doing that, just put on some music and buckle in. Yeah.
Turn on Spotify, that playlist or that podcast or that anime you've been putting off for the last 3 months.
Yeah. I'm also going to throw some ideas for things you could do on the screen right now, just in case you want some ideas to get you started. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this segment, I believe. You're done, right, Neo?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, cool. Next one. Alright, so the next thing we're going to be talking about here is basically just killing things. So if you get Scavenger 3 on whatever your weapon is, then you basically will earn more money per kill. And so yeah, basically if you do that, over a period of time, you can basically get a decent amount of money. But another thing I do want to talk about here is the Raider Axe. So I actually got one recently. I'm working on maxing it out, but basically you get plus 25 coins from monster kills. So if you combine that with the scavenger, then you can get quite a bit of money when you're using this weapon. So I actually did make a video on it. If you're curious to know more, I'll put a card on the screen now where I basically talk about this weapon and how it works and stuff. I do believe that the extra coins are currently glitched though. So yeah, but the first place we're going to talk about to actually kill mobs is going to be at the Obsidian Sanctuary. So mobs here, basically the scavenger also relies on what level the mobs are, so the higher the level, the more money you're gonna make. But if you look over at the side there, it looks like I'm making about 43 coins per kill, and that's with Scavenger 3 here in the Obsidian Sanctuary on these level 20 mobs. This is what I would recommend if you're early in the game and you can't actually get to the end yet, because the end's actually going to be the best place to do this, which I'll show you guys in a second. But yeah, if you can't get to the end yet, then I would recommend coming here instead to grind out money, just because as far as I can tell, it's the best option besides the end. However, if you're actually able to one-shot things in the end, then this is where I would recommend you come. Now before I start killing these things, I just want to mention, just to kind of keep my ego up a little bit, I'm currently wearing Wise armor and my reforges are all whacked. The same goes for all my talismans. They're all really weird, and that's because well, they're mostly forceful, and that's basically because I currently use for dragon fights, which we'll talk about those later in the video, but I use the scorpion bow for dragon fights, so that requires some different reforges to maximize strength. So I'm not doing as much damage as I would be normally. Just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, anyway, so if you are actually able to one-shot these things, then that's what I would recommend you do. And if you do have Wise armor, or just a set with a lot of mana, then yeah, that's definitely good, because you can use the abilities on the rogue sword to get around really quickly and kill them before other people do. And this is especially important the farther down you go, and especially in the dragon's den, which leads me to my next point here. You just want to go as deep down as you can. So if you can one shot the 6,000 health enderman, then go down to them. If you can do the 9,000 health enderman, then go to them. But in particular, if you can one shot zealots, which that's the goal, if you can one-shot zealots, then I would definitely recommend coming in the dragon's nest. Now the reason I say this is because these are the highest level mobs in the end, so that first of all means that you're going to be making the most coins per kill off of them. But besides that, you also have the chance of getting summoning eyes, and when you're grinding in the end, the summoning eyes are mainly what you're going after. And yeah, you can also craft the ender pearls into enchanted ender pearls as you go and sell them when you finish as well, because that'll give you a bit of an extra money boost when you're doing this too. But yeah, the main thing again, once you're in the dragon's den, is the summoning eyes. So we've come to the auction master here to show you guys how much they actually sell for. Even though I already pretty much know how much they sell for, I still want to show you guys just so you know I'm not lying or whatever. Yeah, so they usually, to my knowledge, sell for around 500 to 450,000. Sometimes you'll get lucky and get someone who bids a bit more than that. Personally, when I buy them, I don't go over 500,000, but yeah. So as you can see here, we got one going for 540,000, 480,000, 470, 475, 470, 475 again, 500. So yeah, and this is ending soon. So as you can see, the prices here are all around 450 to 500k, although it's usually on the higher end, closer to 500k. So yeah, I believe that pretty much concludes the killing things segment. Just go where you can, kill the highest level mobs you can for that money, and once you can get to the Dragon's Den and have the gear to one-shot zealots, that's definitely where I recommend going. So that leads us into the next thing we're going to be talking about, which is dragon fights. So basically, to do dragon fights, you obviously need summoning eyes. So we're going to go ahead and show you guys the prices of these in case you did not watch the last segment on grinding summoning eyes, or at least it included that. So yeah, these normally sell for about 450 to 500k. Sometimes you'll see someone go a bit over that, but yeah, it's not recommended to bid over 500k. I never go over 500k on these eyes. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend you do that either. The other option is you could just straight up grind them, which in that case I would go back and watch my last segment if you didn't yet about grinding them, or at least it includes them towards the end of that segment. But yeah. So before I go any further into talking about this is obviously gonna be a big risk of your money. Because you can get good dragons, you can get bad dragons, and even if you get a good dragon, there's still the chance that you won't get a good drop. But yeah, so anyways, once you get your eyes, you can just go ahead and place them down here. You know, I'll just place mine just to do a quick flex. A lot of people like to flex them sometimes. But yeah, so you can place different amounts. I would recommend placing 2 or 3. I usually go 2 or 3. You could go up to 4 as well. But I would definitely not go any more than 4 on one fight. So yeah, you just place your eyes and then you hope you get lucky with whatever dragon spawns. So the dragons that I usually like to see are wise, strong, or superior, obviously. Unstable is also decent, but wise and strong are usually the better ones. So yeah, basically depending on how many eyes you place and what you actually got, that'll determine how much money you make or lose. Again, it's a gamble because you could get a terrible dragon, or you could get a really good dragon. Even if you get a bad dragon, you could get something, you could still get an aspect of the dragons, which you're pretty much always going to make profit on. Another thing that's always pretty much a profit is if you get a superior dragon. Even if you get a superior and you just get fragged, which I have before and it sucks, but if you just get fragged, you're still pretty much going to make profit. As long as you didn't place like a ton of eyes, you usually still make profit. So yeah, I actually do a lot of dragon fights myself, and there's a lot of different strategies you can go with them as far as damage as well. A lot of people would just go with either strong or superior, and then a runes bow with the highest level of dragon hunter they can get. I personally actually use a scorpion bow in conjunction with my runes bow. So I actually do have a video on that. If you're interested, I'll put a card on screen now. But I basically do a lot of swapping between them, and I wear wise armor. And yeah, actually, it's a good strategy, and it does do a lot of damage. And yeah, obviously, the more damage you do, that also gives you better chances for good drops as well. And you also, I mean, you want to make sure you have a good spot. The top of that spike is where a lot of people go. I could recommend it, but like, there's a lot of people up there, so that's kind of hit or miss. There's also a spot up here that's pretty decent. This spot over here, it's all right. But I usually like to go on this spike right here, and it's right behind, if I can get up here, and it's right behind this big spike, that big spike that usually everyone goes to. So I usually find that there's no one over here, and it's a pretty good spot. You got a pretty good vantage point. So yeah, besides that though, I don't think there's really much more to explain. It's pretty self-explanatory from there. Just place however many eyes and do as much damage as you can, and hope you make a profit. Overall though, you will usually make more than you'll lose in a lot of cases. Alright, so the last thing we're going to be talking about here is the spooky event. So if you don't know much about the spooky event, basically a fearmonger spawns here an hour before the event. You can check out his shop. Then once the event goes, it lasts for an hour, and for another hour after, he'll stay here, and you can buy stuff from his shop with the candies that you actually get from the event. And the events usually happen about once every 5 days, I believe. The next one is currently in 3 days and 6 hours. And then the next one's in 8 days, so Yeah, they're usually about 5 days apart. So with the spooky events, a lot of the stuff you get is, at least towards the beginning, when you first start doing them, is going to be stuff you're going to want to keep, like talismans and stuff like that. But once you have everything you need, you do have some options as far as making money off the event. First of all, you could just straight up sell your candies. And I do believe they go for a decent amount if I go ahead and check the auction house here. So there's 23 purples going for 250k right there. A stack of greens going for 120k, but that still isn't ours, so the price isn't too accurate. Oh, a stack of purple there is actually going for 850k. So yeah, candies actually do go for a decent amount if you do just straight up sell them. That is an option you have. You could also buy things from the fearmonger and then go ahead and sell them afterwards on the auction house. Like for example, you could get bat artifacts. Those do tend to sell for a good amount. So yeah, it looks like bat artifacts is one going for 2.2 mil. That's not bid on yet. Yeah, there's not very many in here right now. The closest one's ending in 37 minutes and it's 2.2 mil. So I assume most of these will probably go up to around that range of 2 mil by the time they finish. So those sell for a decent amount, and they do require a bat talisman as well as 64 green candies and 64 purple candies. So you're actually getting more out of your candies that way, because the stack of green was going for about 120k. It might go for a little bit more, like I said, by the time it's done, but then purple is going for 850k stack of that. So that's the amount of candy you actually need, and that would be about a mil if you just sold them on their own. But if you actually make the bat artifact, you're going to be getting more. And there's other things you can like craft and get from the shop here that you could actually go sell on the auction house too. But I mainly recommend bat artifacts, to be honest. So yeah, I believe that about covers the spooky event. Alright guys, so that's going to be about it for this video. A lot of effort did go into making this, including all the brainstorming, the planning, getting everything organized, and the recording. It was, between all that, it was a lot of work. So huge shout out to my buddy Neo for helping out with that. And yeah, so that's going to be about it. If you guys did enjoy or found it useful, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.
I don't believe in destiny, I just do what's best for me. Don't listen to my enemies, they're just full of jealousy. Yeah, this legacy, you gon' see what's left of me. You gon' see success in me, you ain't seen the rest of me. I just wanna be the best at what I know, better than the rest, just watch me grow. Put me to the test and watch me go.